Hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. I'm sorry I'm a little late. I got held up talking about hockey jerseys with the Frenchie over in Canada. So right now we have none other than Rossie McCree with me again. We're actually doing our top 10 comedy movies. Say hello to everyone, Rossie.
Hello, everyone. Nice not seeing you guys again, but nice being on the show again.
Right. I'm always happy to actually have you on the show and everything. You always bring like a sense of lightness and everything to the show and everything, and you just have a great radio voice anyways. That's what my friend
Thank
Tamika wanted me
you.
to tell you. You're welcome.
Thank you. I enjoy coming on the show. It's a lot of fun for me. So,
I'm glad.
yes, yes.
So, when you said that you want to do a top 10 list of
Hmm.
comedies, I was really
Yeah.
challenged. And that's actually a good thing because I love being challenged when making this
Okay.
list. So let's go on ahead and talk about since you're the guest, you can go on
Okay.
ahead and open up to your list.
Okay. So let's see. You want to start with 10 and go up to one, or start with one and go down?
Let's go with 10 and work our way up.
Awesome. Okay. So I love comedy movies. I love to laugh. I love stand up. So this one was really hard because I had so many movies that I wanted to add. So my number 10 is going to be Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim
Oh,
Carrey, Renee Zellweger, and Anthony Anderson, and a bunch of other awesome people in the movie. And if you don't know about this movie, you guys need to see it. It's a great movie. You have Jim Carrey, who's playing a Long Island or a Rhode Island trooper, and he has a double personality. So his name is Charlie, but his personality is named Hank. And Hank is off the wall, crazy, rude, hilarious, absolutely hilarious. And you have Jim Carrey with these three kids, and they happen to be black kids, which is extra funny. Three big black kids, which is extra funny. So the movie starts, and it starts with him. You see him at home with his family. He goes to the grocery store, and that's when the snap happens, and you end up meeting Hank at the grocery store. This was a great movie.
this is actually one of my favorite
Okay.
Jim Carrey movies, to be honest with you. I'm actually glad that you actually have a Jim Carrey movie on there because I actually have two of them on mine.
Okay.
But I mean, Myself and Irene was one of those ones that wasn't on my list. It wasn't because I didn't enjoy it or whatever. But I just left my ass off every single time whenever you have the part where Irene wakes up in the hotel room and Hank's woken up and he's peeing all through the
Yeah.
morning and everything. He goes, "Do we have sex?" And all of a sudden she goes, "Yeah, well, you had sex. The dildo was up your ass the whole night."
Wow.
So
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and then
Or the
also
scene.
too, right.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Then also too the Richard Pryor bit where the kids are watching Richard Pryor doing the comedian thing too. That was actually funny. This movie
Absolutely.
actually works out really well. Go on ahead and talk
Yes.
about some more of your favorite scenes.
I think my favorite scene out of the whole movie is when he's Hank, and it's in the beginning of the film, and you see a mother nursing her baby at a park, sitting on the bench, and then in the next scene you see Hank nursing from the woman, and the baby's not there, and I just found that to be absolutely hilarious. Or when he's in a grocery store and he gets on the intercom and he's calling out certain items from the grocery store, and he asks for I think it was tampons or something like that. Anyways, super funny movie, super hilarious. And Jim Carrey, when he acts, he puts his whole body into his character. So you're looking at his facial expressions, everything. He's just funny. So that has to be one of my favorite Jim Carrey films.
Mine too, to be honest with you. I love whenever he transforms his body and the shapes and stuff like that he has to
Yes.
do. Matter of fact, I remember in high school when that was like the most controversial thing that we actually talked about was when Jim Carrey goes and sucks on the woman's boob and everything. And one of my friends is like, I need to see this movie. I'm like, that's just how much we were pervs up in high school. But the movie works out for itself. I really enjoy this film. I'm glad that you actually picked this one out and everything, to be
It was
honest with you.
so hard. I had like, we could do a Jim Carrey top 10 Jim Carrey movies alone. You know what I mean? There's so many that I
Exactly.
wanted to choose from, but I have to say this one was just the multiple personality, the kids, Anthony Anderson's part. It was just altogether a great movie. So yay, Jim Carrey.
I agree with you. So my number 10, I actually
Yeah.
went with something a little bit different
Okay.
than what you did. And that would be Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh
With that
yes.
together. Yeah, I really love this movie. I remember renting this from the VHS store. My mom looks at me and goes, "You better not be learning anything on how to actually play hooky from school."
Oh my gosh, dude.
But
Go ahead. That was the best.
but but yeah, I mean, I love this scene when he has the whole school underneath his belt pretty much, where it's like, hey, go ahead and collect the money for Bueller. Then the teacher's calling him Bueller, Bueller, Bueller.
Yeah.
That was actually one of my favorite lines in the whole thing. Then you have Cameron, and this actually reminds me of my friendship with one of my friends and everything. He goes, I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna go. Then he cranks up the car, and then he ends up uncranking it again. And goes, I'm gonna. He goes, he's gonna make me feel guilty. He's gonna make me feel guilty, and then after that, I have to hear for it all the time and everything. I'm not going. And then all of a sudden, he cranks up the car. He goes, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. And next thing you
Absolutely.
know, Cameron's just go. He just feels frustrated,
Yeah.
and he just yells. And I love that scene and everything because it's fighting with his whole entire will of the consequences in his mind because he's so afraid of his dad.
Yes,
So
yes, yes. That was a good. I'm surprised I didn't think about that one. That was actually, I probably seen that. I've seen it so many times, and it's one of those movies. Every time you see it, you see something different that you didn't see or maybe paid attention to because there's so much going on. But you can literally watch that movie over and over again, and it's like it stands up today.
most definitely,
You know?
because even the part right, especially with the principal though too.
Yes. Yes.
If you actually think about it, Rainy and everything, and also the arcade. Whenever he sees someone that's actually similar to Ferris,
Yeah.
and he's going to the arcade, he goes, "I got you, buddy," and it's actually a woman. She ends up
Or
decking him.
yes. Or the scene where, I mean, just how he puts everything together in his room so that when his parents come, you have the stereo where he has a snore effect, you have the
Yep.
dummy in the bed, you have all that he set up to skip school and have
Exactly,
it.
and that's what
Yeah,
makes it so comical.
yes,
And
exactly. Yes,
you know what? If that was my parents, though, I know it's the '80s. My mom would have went into the whole entire room. She would not just
absolutely.
eat
Yes,
and everything. If you're gonna fake
yes.
something, fake a diarrhea. It's actually easier to fake, because all the person will do is go over to the doctors, just squeeze your stomach a little bit, act like they. The doctor will go over there and push down on your stomach. All you have to say, "Ow, ow, ow."
There
Okay,
you go.
liquid diet. You get to stay
There
home
you
for a
go.
couple of days and be done. No faking the temperature, nothing like that. You get to be home and you can have a liquid
Exactly.
diet. They
Yes,
don't
that's why it was great when he did it because who does that? Who does that? So when you
exactly.
see that in the film, you're ready for the movie.
Exactly. It fits. You know what though? It actually, the tone. You know what you're getting for. It's right there in your face. Something you
Yes.
appreciate about it. It knows what it is. This
Yeah.
movie's a classic. I watch this every single time it's on DirecTV or if it's on Netflix. I'm
Right.
always going to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Good pick,
what
John.
was there any other? Yeah, thanks.
Let's see. Well, I mean, I think the fact that when you're watching a movie, you're not realizing what an epic day off that they're going to have that day.
Right.
The what
Exactly.
was it, the Michael Jackson scene that the whole cast and crew danced to in downtown Chicago, and I think it was a Shake It Up Baby, Twist and Shout.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
Twist and
not
Shout,
expecting that in one of those
Dagache
sets.
by Dagache. Who's that guy in Vegas that was really popular and everything? Wayne Newton sings that
Wayne
song.
Newton, yes, yes,
Yeah, and it was just perfect the way
yes,
they
it was.
actually did that whole entire choreography of it because that was just right on the nose. It was perfect, even with his dad dancing outside,
Yeah, yeah,
inside his building and everything too.
yep.
Oh, my girlfriend said, I love Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I do too, babe. That's actually one of my favorite ones. And then she said, "Please tell me someone picked Weekend at Bernie's."
Oh
So
my, I was gonna pick that one, but I was like, I don't know. But I've seen probably all three. I think there were three
I think there
Weekend
was
at Bernie's.
like only two.
Was there two? Okay, well, I've seen them
Yeah,
both.
I
And
have
I thought it
two,
was funny
but
at the time. I mean, I really did.
I'm not gonna steal my own thunder on that one. So
Okay. Okay.
we're gonna
Okay.
go on ahead.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm not gonna steal my own thunder. So you go on ahead.
Okay. So the next one on my list is Little Miss Sunshine. That was
Okay, I
that
didn't
came out.
see that one.
You didn't see that? Oh wow. Okay. So it came out in I have my notes on '06, and you have a young Abigail Breslin, and you have Alan Arkin and Greg Kinnear, and you have this little girl who wants to be in this pageant, and she has this family that's just a quirky family, issues and all that. So they decide, you know what, we're going to take her, which is Abigail. We're going to drive, I think it's cross country. They do a road trip with the whole family. So you have the grandpa, you have the mom and dad, the brother, you have like a uncle that's like not really there, and you have Alan Arkin, who's the grandfather, who's absolutely hilarious. So they do this road trip to take her to go do this pageant. And she's not like other little girls. She's kind of like, awkward, and she wears the glasses, just really smart. And so
Okay.
the story takes place.
You
And
see,
they
I
get
remember
into
seeing previews of going.
oh no, and then they get into this, it's cross country adventure, and crazy things happened, and they get her to the pageant, and dude, she ends up getting on stage and doing this funny dance with her grandpa, and I think she danced to like Cherry Pie or some weird song. Anyways, this movie was a great movie. It was an independent film, and it's a cult classic. I absolutely love it. I think people should go back and check it out.
To be honest with you, I remember seeing the trailers for this and stuff like that. I remember, I think even on MTV, the award show that they had for the movie
Okay,
show, I remember actually seeing that. And I was like, you know what? I think I'll actually check this out later on. I just never got around to checking it out.
so
And
good,
then a
John.
couple of years, you know what? Shame on me. I need to go on ahead and check this out soon. So I'll definitely check out the streaming services, see what they have. Is there any other scenes that actually sticks out for you with this one to actually sell me
Um,
to speed through it so I can actually watch this?
yeah, actually, I can't think of his name. He played in Bruce Almighty. He was the lead in,
Oh, okay.
the 40-year-old virgin. I can't think of his name, but
Steve Carell.
he's yeah, there you go. He's in this film, and you don't notice him because you don't know that's him at the time. But he plays this depressed uncle. You really don't. He's just kind of there. It's kind of weird and odd, and you don't realize it's him, Steve Carell, until maybe when he does Bruce Almighty, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's the dude from Little Miss Sunshine. But a big major part of the film is Alan Arkin, who plays the grandfather. He ends up dying um, after the trip or on the way there, or after the pageant or whatever. So then you have them with the body that they're have to get the body from the pageant to the hospital, and they cover him up. I mean, absolutely hilarious. And that's one of the
Okay.
big things when grandpa dies. And I don't want to, I mean, that's like a really big spoiler alert. I'm sorry, guys. But check it out, John, and get back to me.
I definitely will. You know I
Okay.
will, because you know I
I know
enjoyed the
you
last
will.
movie. So, and I like Steve Carell though. I like Steve
I
Carell
do too.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I actually do have something actually listed on there too with
Okay.
Steve Carell.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome.
So my next one is going to be Coming to America with Eddie Murphy.
Oh my gosh, that's on my list too. You go ahead and take it.
Okay. So Coming to America is actually one of my favorite movies. As a matter of fact, I remember as a kid, I rented this at a video store, and the woman behind the desk, I don't know if she knew it was rated R or not, but mom was like, "Well, it's Eddie Murphy. I mean, it can't be that bad." And then here I am
Yeah.
watching it, and I didn't. And, as you get older and stuff like that, you start getting the jokes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But my favorite thing, though, that I have to say about it was whenever he's in Africa, and then you have the butlers following him to the bathroom. Goes, for once, I wish that I could actually use the bathroom by myself. And then and then there's also the other things though that actually happens though too, where wherever he goes, there's rose petals. He can't
Yes.
step anywhere without rose petals and things
Right.
like that. And then there's also the other thing that I really have to say that I really thought that was funny. That makes me laugh every time when the
Yeah.
woman comes in when Eddie Murphy's trying to find a bride and goes,
Yeah.
"What kind of music?" He goes, "What kind of music do you like? Whatever music you like." And then she's like, and he's like, "Well, what kind of food do you like? Whatever food you like." I'm like, "Great, this really feels like an awkward date that you just
Right.
met off of Tinder."
Right.
but you know, I really like that. And then of course, City Hall being his friend
Yes.
and stuff like that was really great. And then finally they go over into Queens. But my favorite
Yeah.
thing though is "Good morning, everybody," and then he goes, "Fuck you."
That's right.
And then he's like, "Fuck you too." And
That's
you know
right.
what's
That's right.
you know what's funny? I actually used that for my movie page though for everybody to laugh at in the morning times. And like
Yeah.
so I actually used the clip from Eddie Murphy's Coming to America with the "fuck you" thing for good morning
Yeah. Yeah. I like
because I
that.
figured that thanks just for a little bit of a laugh just to get people throughout the day. But
I can see
you
that
know,
with what you post. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
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 And then I here's another thing though. I did not even know that Samuel L. Jackson was even in this movie at all.
Wait.
Did you know that?
Oh, wait. He was the bum. Oh, no, no, no. He was the dude that stuck up the, didn't he
Yeah,
stick up the McDowell's restaurant?
yeah,
That was him. Yes.
yeah. I didn't even
Yes.
realize that until like later on in life. I'm like, wait, that's Samuel L. Jackson.
Exactly. No, I didn't realize that at the time either.
Oh, let's see here. Brandy said the scene where the bride is acting like a dog at his command. Yeah, that was the one I was
Yes.
talking about. That was funny.
Yes.
What other what scenes do you like though? Because I've been talking about some of the
Um,
scenes I like.
I love the scene where they're in church, of course, and the what is it, sexual chocolate?
Yeah,
They're
sexual
on
chocolate.
okay,
Yeah.
sexual chocolate, and it's Arsenio Hall's character, and just that whole scene where they're where they're doing the song, the sexual chocolate song, and the Jerry curl, and the look on the people's face in the audience. That was my favorite scene. Oh, also the barbershop scene.
Oh yeah, the barbershop one was
The
my favorite
barbershop
though
scene of
too.
the
The two old
yes,
men.
the
That was
old men in the
great.
barbershop. Yes. Yes. There's so many scenes,
And
John. I mean, we can go on. I mean,
if this was a Coming to
the
America review, I would definitely want. This movie just stays fresh in my mind for some reason. It's just one of those movies that I don't have to go back and revisit because I know it
yeah,
by heart.
exactly. Yep.
Which is also why too that I'm also good with the "Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead" review that we did
Yes.
that I did on the podcast. And I revisit it, but I also know it by heart without having to revisit anything. So this movie is one of those movies that are on the same level.
I get that. I've seen that one too. And yes, that's one where you don't have to revisit it. You know that movie. And just like,
Right.
Coming to America, you know it. There's so many scenes that people love. So yes, that was a good one. That was going to be my number two. So we'll just know that that was number two. And we
Okay.
okay.
All right.
All
All right.
right. So my number eight, this is a classic, and I love this as a young teen. Can't Buy Me Love. Can't Buy Me
Okay. I've
Love.
heard about that one.
Okay, so it came out in '87. You have Dr. McDreamy, who's Patrick Dempsey. That was in, if you know Grey's Anatomy, back in the day, he was like an original cast of Grey's Anatomy, and everyone referred to him, Patrick Dempsey, as Dr. McDreamy. So, anyways, you have a young Patrick Dempsey and Amanda Peterson, and Patrick Dempsey plays this nerdy kid in school, and he just wants to be popular because there's a popular girl that he just absolutely just loves and adores. So what happens is he goes to a mall, she's at the mall, she's getting this new outfit, and she ends up spilling some, and it actually is an outfit from her mom's closet that she wore that she wasn't supposed to. She spills something on it. He has the money to get it cleaned, but in exchange, she has to make him popular for a week. And the movie takes place. So he goes to school and he hangs out with her. She introduces him to everyone to where people end up loving him. And he ends up being more popular than he ever even imagines and forgets about her. And her friends ends up turning on her. So this movie is it's just a hilarious movie. It's so funny. Patrick Dempsey he was a great comedian at that time. I mean, really funny in the movie. And yeah, I've seen that movie hundreds of times. It was my favorite movie growing up. So that had to be my number 8.
Okay. Do you have any one-liners that you remember from that movie that you find that's actually funny? Or
there's no one-liners, but there is a scene where he's so popular, and when kids are popular, everyone wants to do what you do. So they go to a school dance, and at the school dance, he gets on a dance floor, and he loved watching these National Geographic African films and stuff. So he saw the dances that they used to do. So he goes to the school dance and he gets on a dance floor and starts doing this African dance. Everyone's kind of staring at him and kind of like, what the heck? And then you have one other person look at him and, well, he's popular, so, let's do the dance. Before you know it, the whole gymnasium at that school dance is doing this dance. Absolutely hilarious, because they didn't know that it was a dance that he got from a National Geographic movie or documentary. That was the most funniest scene, one of the funniest scenes in the film.
Okay,
and if you
I'm
guys
definitely
go
gonna
back
have to
and
check
see
that
it,
out.
you will definitely laugh at that part. Yes.
Okay, I'll definitely check that out. Even my girlfriend is saying, seen it more times than I can count.
Yes.
She says, "You haven't seen this?" No, baby, I have not seen this movie. So if you can Google it and find out where it's streaming at, that would be great, and we can probably watch it over the weekend.
Awesome.
But let's see here. Number 8 for me is the 40-year-old version with Steve Carell.
Yes.
And I find this movie hilarious every time I watch this film. Now, there are some people that are like, "Oh, I didn't like that film," which I understand. Comedy is the most subjective thing that you can actually make. Everybody's humor is different. But I really have to say, Steve Carell actually did a fantastic job at playing a guy that is supposed to be a virgin. Then you have Seth Rogen in this movie. And here's the thing. I like Seth Rogen as a co-star in movies, and he knocked it out of the park with this one. And then also too, Paul Rudd in this film was hilarious, who was a guy who was trying to get over his ex-girlfriend Amy, and he just wasn't having it. Everything reminded him of Amy. And then you also have Seth Rogen, who was just the stoner guy who was making a soap opera for a screenwriting thing. But then you also have the bald-headed guy who's just whipped by his wife and everything. He's always scared of her and stuff, which was actually pretty funny. And then Kevin Hart's even in this movie, though, too, as a special cameo. And
I watched the film. The first time I watched it, I really wasn't into it. My husband loved the movie, so I watched it again with him. And it's one of those where, for me, it took me a few times to watch it, or maybe the second time to kind of get the funny in it. But for the first time, I'm like, yeah. But I appreciated it the second time I watched it, and yeah, it was a good movie. It was a funny movie.
Right. Because here's the thing, like even with the other guys, with Will Ferrell and also Mark Wahlberg, for example, the first time I saw it in theaters, I'm like, okay, I don't really care for it. Then once it came on DirecTV, I watched it again. I'm laughing at every single joke. I'm like, I really like this film compared to where I was in the theater. I don't know if it was the audience or whatever, but I just didn't care for it. But watching it on DirecTV actually enhanced my experience for the film, which is weird for me. But the things that I liked about this film that made me laugh, though, too, was he goes, "Yeah, everybody drives a fucking bike. Yeah, when they're 6." And then Steve Carell is there. He goes, "Yeah, I think I'll go on ahead and make me an omelet and color some more of my stuff." And Seth Rogen goes, "Yeah, that sounds like a fucking great idea." and then also too, the other thing that I thought that was actually funny though too was, "Hey, have you ever felt a girl's boob?" He goes, "Yeah, it felt like a bag of sand." And it's just one of those things where he's staying up at 3 o'clock in the morning, going over things that he actually is questioning about. He goes,
Yeah.
"Nah, they're not going to remember. They're not going to remember. Those guys were cool."
Isn't that, doesn't he also have a scene where doesn't he get waxed in that scene as well?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the
Okay.
best
For some
hair
reason
scene.
that stands out to me.
Yeah, because that was like the
Okay.
most standout scene because he actually did get his hair. Matter of fact, it was his birthday. Matter of fact, and how I found all this out was because I was watching the Today Show whenever the film
Yeah.
was first being released, and his wife goes, "What the hell happened to you?" He goes, I went into work today," and he goes, "I can see that, but when you left, you had a full set of hair on your chest. Now you have a half of a chest of your chest
Right.
hair. So what happened?"
Right.
So he literally went into that thing and waxed his own chest.
So that
And
really
it,
was real.
yep, that was real. Even
Mm.
the nipple part and everything
Mm.
that made me hurt.
Mm.
But I like the one he said, "Remember the Kelly Clarkson one?" Because Kelly Clarkson,
No.
where she rips off yeah, she rips off the nipple, rips it off
Mm.
and everything, and he's like, "Kelly Clarkson," and then he goes, "Audio pussy," because of the fact that it hurt so bad though.
Mm.
Yeah, but that scene was good, and then Paul Rudd goes, "You look like a man o' lantern,"
A man o' lantern.
and then there was also the scene in the side of the club where he goes, "So what do you think of my shirt?" And then Seth Rogen goes, "It looks great. What was Curious George like in real life?"
See.
So I like the little, huh?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
And then there's also the other thing though too. He goes, "It's not like I have a bunch of women chasing after me or whatever, because I was the yo-yo master back in school. Do me, yo-yo master, do me." Just
Oh my
started laughing
God.
my ass off.
Oh my
But yeah,
gosh.
I mean, the stuff that Steve Carell does, the facial expressions alone is why I go see a Steve Carell movie.
And I get that in the Bruce Almighty's, the Evan, or what was the other one? Liar Liar. Wasn't he in Liar
Evan
Liar? The
Almighty.
news. There you go. Okay, where he played the
Yeah, and
newscaster.
Bruce
And yeah,
Almighty.
okay. Okay, that's
Yep.
it. Okay, but I do like Steve
So
Carell. But yeah, 40-Year-Old Virgin. Yeah, hit and miss for me.
okay.
But I do get that it's a classic because I mean, guys love it.
Right. Exactly. It's a
Yeah,
raunchy
yeah,
comedy,
yeah,
and sometimes it's too raunchy for some women and stuff like that too, to the point where it takes them out of a movie for it being too raunchy,
yeah,
which I
yeah,
totally understand. But
yeah.
for a guy, if you're looking for a good movie to laugh at or whatever, go on ahead, check out the 40-year-old version. It's definitely
Absolutely,
worth watching.
absolutely.
Okay,
It is a
so
cult classic. It is a cult classic.
definitely.
Okay, so this next one is number 7 and Half Baked.
Okay, I like that one.
Okay, okay. So
So,
I mean, Half Baked. You have Dave Chappelle. Um, Gosh, dude, I can't name the other guys in it. I think Jim Brewer.
yep,
Um,
Jim Brewer was there.
Jim Brewer was in it, and a couple of great other people. But so you have Dave Chappelle, who is a janitor at this medical facility, this cannabis facility. Well, his friend who plays Kenny, who is just this sweet guy who happens to be a kindergarten teacher, ends up going to jail because they had got the munchies one night. He ended up feeding a police horse too much snacks, and the horse falls over and
Right.
died, which is a criminal offense. He goes to jail. So the plot of the movie is his friends have to get him out of jail. So in order to get him out of jail, they decide we'll sell weed and we'll do that. And the movie just starts. It's absolutely hilarious. Dave Chappelle also plays a character named Samson, who was one of my favorite
Yep.
characters because of you remember the rap videos that they would show of Samson, and he was really huge in New
Yeah.
York, and you have you have Dave Chappelle with the cornrows and the gold teeth
Yeah.
and that song. But the movie was just really funny. He ends up meeting a girl, Dave Chappelle, and her name happens to be Mary Jane. And Yeah, and remember, she doesn't
Mhm.
like, she's totally against weed smoking because of some crazy thing that happened. So he has to hide it from her that he's like, selling weed to get his friend out of jail, who, by the way, is, counting down the days before he becomes a dude's buddy in jail. So that alone is funny as well. So I've seen this movie so many times. I think everyone would love this movie. And if you like Dave Chappelle in his earlier career, you love Half Baked.
I can actually agree with that as well. I remember at Blockbuster when this movie came out,
Yeah.
and I rented it for the very first time. I laughed nonstop with this film and everything. And also, too, if you want to light up on 420, that would probably be the movie that you would actually recommend for somebody for lighting up for 420. But I haven't seen this movie in forever, and I wanted to actually revisit this film not too long ago. So I'm hoping that I can actually see it on HBO Max or something in the future.
Yeah.
So it's just certain scenes and stuff like that. Does the stuff that you mentioned came
Yeah.
back to me,
Yeah.
but the other stuff is like in splurs and stuff like that. I have no memory of some of the scenes and everything. So, but I definitely love that film. I definitely recommend it to anybody that actually wants to see it. My girlfriend even wants to see this movie because she never heard of it. So I'm
Really?
probably, yeah. So
Oh, that's
she,
gonna be fun for her.
yes, it is. I'm gonna envy her for watching this for the first time
Absolutely. Don't you
because
love watching those movies with people for the first time?
yes, I do
Yeah.
because I want to see if they actually have the same experience that I do. Because
Exactly. Yeah.
sometimes I actually look just to see what their people's expressions are and everything too. I even do that in the movie theaters too for seeing a movie for the very first time. So
Yeah. Yeah.
let's see.
Okay.
So I have a John Cusack movie on the list,
Okay. Okay.
and this also stars Jack Black. This movie came out in 2000. It
Okay.
is the movie High Fidelity.
Oh, I didn't see that movie.
You know what? That's why I actually picked it because it's actually underrated.
Okay.
Basically, this is one of my favorite movies. As a matter of fact, they actually made an Amazon Prime series out of it, but they
Yeah.
did instead of it being a male role, they did a female role instead. They did a switcheroo where it's not about a male that's actually questioning his inabilities as a man on his relationships that he actually went through his past life, and also too wondering why women keep leaving him and being rejected. But
Okay.
really, in all honesty, John Cusack's actually the asshole and everything, and the reason why women were actually not wanting to be with him. But it also has his sister in this movie. Jack, basically, it's about this guy who actually owns a record store in Chicago, and basically that was like on the verge of vinyl, CDs, cassette tapes, and stuff like that. So of course, it has a very 2000s flavor to it, which I really love because it's all about making mixtapes, trying to make the mix to the right person and stuff like that too. But Jack Black just steals the show, and also Dick, the character Dick, is in this movie. That's in
Okay.
this movie too. Basically, how these two people got jobs was because they just wandered into John Cusack's store, and John Cusack decided to go on ahead and hire them, and they never left the store since. He even breaks the third wall, explaining how they came into his life.
Okay.
And John Cusack's character's name is Rob. Rob is trying to get over Robin. Robin and him actually broke up, and a matter of fact, when he opens up the store, you're actually first introduced to Dick, which is actually this awkwardly skinny dude, weighs 120 pounds, soaking wet, kind of quiet, laid back kind of guy. Total opposite of what Jack Black's character is, Barry. And also too, what else is actually pretty funny though is this: they're actually music snobs if you actually think about it, because they think they actually know everything about music.
Okay.
So so they actually do that. They actually organize their vinyl collections and stuff like that according to how they actually feel and stuff like that. So they're kind of nerdy in a sense, but and it also has what's that guy, Tim Robbins in this movie though too,
Okay.
who
Okay.
uh, John Cusack's girlfriend actually leaves him for, which is his name is actually Ian. The character's name is Ian in this movie. But the funny thing is that I really liked is when Jack Black walks to the door, they're listening to Dick's mixtape, they're enjoying it, And then Jack Black goes, okay, what the hell is this shit? He goes, this is Dick's mixtape that he made, and we're quite enjoying it. He goes, no, you don't need that. He goes on ahead, goes behind the counter, and he goes, I believe this is yours. Chunks the mixtape and puts in his mixtape with Walking on Sunshine.
Uh-huh.
And the next thing you know, he does his whole entire Jack Black isms, where he's clapping his hands, he's dancing around the counter, and all that stuff. And he goes, what are you doing, Barry? He goes, what? I can't hear you over the volume. And he cranks it up even more. And then he cranks it back down and goes, what the hell was that? He goes, that was a mixtape that I made for you on this specific day and everything. And he goes, I also made a little bit of loop-de-loo in there too. So, but I love this movie. You can connect with it. It's about friendship. Not only is it about friendship, it's also about changing as a person, questioning why maybe you might be the problem in a relationship and stuff like that. It's really great. And also too, Ian also plays this guy who's actually is good at making love. And John Cusack goes into the whole entire things of you have not have sex until you had sex with Ian. That's what he actually says.
Wow.
And then he goes into the whole entire meltdown of his girlfriend having sex with Ian. And then when he asks her, did you have sex with Ian? He goes, no, I did not have sex with Ian yet. And so in his mind, he asks Barry, which is Jack Black, he goes, what does that mean yet? Does that mean like I haven't seen Evil Dead yet? Or does that mean like I'm not going to go see Evil Dead? He goes, well, first off, why the hell are you not going to go see Evil Dead 2? Evil Dead 2 is amazing. And so he didn't even help the situation. And then he just calls him out on his sweater. He goes, that don't even look like a sweater. That looks like a Cosby sweater is what you have on. So it's really great. If you really want to check this out, check it out. I'd totally recommend it.
High Fidelity.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, number 6. Office Space.
Okay, I remember
Have you seen
Office
that one?
Space.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an oldie, but I remember the 90s and everything watching it. So I just don't remember certain scenes. This is going to be another one of those things like Half-Baked.
Okay, all right. So you have Ron Livingston. You have Peter, I think it's Gary Soul or something. Anyways, and Bill Lumberg, who plays Bill Lumberg. I'm sorry. Gary Cole, who plays Bill Lumberg. Sorry. Anyway, so you have a guy, Ron Livingston, who works at this office, you know, your typical cubicle office space type of place. And he hates his job. He absolutely hates it. And he hates his boss, who is Bill Lombard. And so you have the guy that goes to work and he's trying to figure out a way of getting out of this job. He doesn't want to be there. And in the movie, you meet the different characters that work in the office. And that's where the movie takes place at, is in this office space. And you have a big part of the movie where, if you remember, at the end of the day, he's just trying to get out of there. He's sneaking out because you have Lombard, who's always asking you, can you stay late? I think I need you to stay late. So anyways, the dude's miserable throughout the whole film, but it's absolutely funny because you get to meet the funny characters. You have the one guy who is always worried about losing his job. He thinks every day, they're going to fire me. I know they're going to fire me. Which is actually, there's another funny scene with the guy, because if you remember, he ends up pulling out of his driveway. And as he pulls out of his driveway, he gets hit by a truck. So he gets hit by a truck and he lives through it, but he's in this full body cast. He gets all this money back. So he's telling you about this new game that he's going to come up with called Jumping to Conclusions. And it was supposed to be like a Twister game, if you remember that part. And he's talking about that. You have another character who I think he plays, I forget his name in the movie, but anyways, he's the one that always they move his desk to like the back of the office, And then they tell him, well, we're going to have to put your desk downstairs in a basement. And he's always saying, I'm going to burn this place down. I'm going to burn this place down. Which in the end, he ends up burning the place down. Anyways, this is just a really good movie. You have Jennifer Aniston, who's also in this movie, who plays the lead character's love interest that works at like a Applebee's. And so they also shoot the scene in the restaurant where they have, where you meet Jennifer Aniston at, and the quirky people that work in this restaurant. And it's just a good movie. I haven't seen it in years, but I've seen it a lot of times, and I just love that movie. It's kind of like a half-baked in a way, another classic that came out in late 90s.
Right. I remember the late 90s. I still remember you always have that one guy that's always panicking if he's going to get fired. And then you
Yes,
have
yes,
So, it's very relatable. It's something that
it
you
is.
didn't think at the time that you're going to relate to it. And then
Yep,
later on in life, you wind up becoming an adult and then you wind up relating to it even more. So, I
absolutely.
definitely,
You meet those people when you work. You end up
right.
meeting those people, and everyone knows those people. The lady, on Monday that says, "Oh, it's a moon day," and just you meet those people throughout life. And I've met those people, and for me, I always think back to Office Space and laugh because it's like you said, it's very relatable, but it's hilarious.
Definitely.
It's so funny. And
All
at the
right.
end, the guy ends up leaving the office and ends up going and doing construction work where he loves it. He's working outside and just life's better.
Definitely. And that's
Yes.
something that I really like, though, too. Then, of course, you also have the guy who always wants to leave early because of the fact that he just doesn't want to be there anymore. And who doesn't want to be at work for the whole entire 8 or 9 or maybe 12 hours that you're working
Right.
and
Right.
everything? It's like I need to get out of here before I
Yes.
bust, kind of thing.
And it's two
So
quirky friends. One's name is Michael Bolton, and everyone thinks that because his name is Michael Bolton, he loves the singer that was big at that time, named Michael Bolton. And it's just they take little jabs at certain pop history that was going on at the
mhm.
time. Yes,
Yeah, I like that. I love little jabs here and there whenever it
I
comes down to
do.
movies with pop culture and stuff. It's just great. And
Yes.
that I can actually see why that's actually one of your favorite movies. So good choice on that one.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
What do you
So let's
got
see
for
here. Well, number 6, I have actually Weekend at Bernie's.
me? Tell everyone about it, please.
Okay. Okay, so basically, I'm not going to steal my own thunder because I'm actually supposed to be doing a review next Monday for
Okay.
this, but
Okay.
I will go in through maybe a couple of my favorite scenes and then go from there. But
Okay.
it's about these two idiots who works for this guy named Bernie Lomax. Lomax is a corruptive guy, and he actually wants to pick stuff on them from stealing from the company, embezzling from the company. Then, of course, he wants to go on ahead and kill them. So, what better way to do that? Invite them over for a weekend over at his place at this big old huge condo out on the beach. He thinks that he's going to get away with it, but it's actually the opposite of what happens. Instead,
Right.
Lomax winds up actually getting killed instead because the people that he was embezzling money with or whatever decides to backstab him. And then the two morons at the office that was supposed to wind up being the ones who winds up taking the whole entire winds up embezzling supposedly the money from the company, winds up getting framed for the murder of Bernie instead. So instead of them calling the cops or anything like that, like, you know what? Let's just go and act like he's alive. Everybody from all over the beach and everything is like, hey, Bern, do you want to go ahead and smoke some weed with me? Smoke some cocaine? And he goes, I know you're holding. Next thing you know, Bernie winds up leaning over. He goes, I knew you had some. And then there was this other girl who just comes out of nowhere and everything and starts talking with him, wanting to make out with him. And the two idiots are like, this could actually work. So they act like the whole entire time Bernie's alive, but he's really dead. And also, too, they also have to deal with the fact that somebody actually might want to kill them too, because of the fact that because they actually think that they're actually friends of Bernie's and everything. So I really love this film for what it is. If I actually had to do a remake of this, I said this before, But I would actually
Yeah,
cast Vince Vaughn. I would cast Vince Vaughn in this movie, Owen Wilson, and RDJ
I see that.
and everything. Let Robert Downey Jr. be the boss who is actually trying to take down these idiots. Vince Vaughn is over there just trying to score, and so is Owen Wilson. So,
Right.
I believe that these would be the best people that you could actually go with if you want to do a remake. But like I said, I didn't want to
Absolutely.
steal my own thunder with this film or anything like that because I'm doing a review with Quentin Bennett next Monday with this. So, what did you think of this one? Did you like it or
Yeah, at the time, I really liked it. I mean, I thought it was funny. We rented it at like a video, like VHS, and um, I remember we couldn't wait to see it. We love comedies, and yeah, I was happy with it. I liked it.
okay? So
Yeah.
what's on your next one?
Okay, my next one is oh, this is a funny one. This is actually Kings of Comedy, which
Okay,
was a stand-up movie. Um,
okay.
have you ever seen the Kings of Comedy?
I've seen the previews for it, but I didn't
Okay.
actually see the film or anything like that. I want to say maybe I was like 9, maybe 10 at the time or
Oh,
whatever.
yeah. Yeah, you couldn't
So
see it.
yeah,
Well, maybe you would have seen it though if you could have got a hold of it.
probably.
Um, so Kings of Comedy, you have I think it's four of your greatest. You have Steve Harvey, you have the late Bernie Mac, you have Cedric the Entertainer, and you have DL Hughley. And it's a stand-up comedy movie. And they each have their own sets. And it's probably for me, one of the best comedy stand-up movies of all time for me. Steve Harvey, he's the presenter, I guess. He brings everyone out. He does his set, which is absolutely hilarious. If you know Steve Harvey's stand-up, people love his church bit that he does, and he does a funny church bit where he has an older lady that stands up and wants to, give praise for the day, and he takes the Gilligan's Island song, or no, it was the Jefferson song, and turns it into this gospel funny church song. You have Bernie Mac, who's doing his performance is actually talking about, which was later be his show, the Bernie Mac show. He does the bit about meeting his brother's kids and having to take custody of them, and how funny that was, bringing him to live with him, and it was just super funny, super
Okay.
funny. I think everyone, if you haven't seen it, absolutely go and see it. You can get it on any platform, HBO Max. It's really good. Each comedian is really, really good.
Okay.
Yes.
And Brandy, you mentioned Down to Earth with Chris Rock for one of the. That's a good one. I didn't think about Down to Earth.
Yeah, Down to Earth. Years. I haven't seen that in a long time.
Same here. All I remember was DMX was actually popular during that time,
Yes.
and the Rough Riders anthem, and him being a rich white dude, and him singing that at the
Yes.
fast food
That's okay.
restaurant. That
Okay.
made me laugh my ass off every single time when
Okay.
I watched that part. And then, of course, sipping on gin and juice and everything. That part makes me laugh. So, yeah, that's actually a good one, babe. That was actually a good one that you actually chose because I didn't think about that movie that much or anything like that. So, good call. So I actually have another '80s classic one.
Okay.
This is a John Candy film
Oh,
directed
awesome.
by John Hughes, and that is Uncle Buck.
Yay, Uncle Buck. Yes.
And Uncle Buck is actually one of my favorite movies that John Candy has done. And there's actually a couple of more, but I actually have another John Candy film actually on my list though too. But
Oh,
Uncle
okay.
Buck, in case anybody's wondering what Uncle Buck is, if you lived underneath a rock or whatever, um,
Right.
but it's basically this uncle that nobody really wants to even uh, touch base on or anything like that. He's like your last resort to actually want to babysit kids. And basically something winds up happening to where his brother needs him to watch the kids for about a week or so, and because somebody had died in their family. So they called John Candy up. John Candy's going through some financial problems and things like that, relational problems as well. He also lives by Wrigley Field and with the Cubs and everything. This made me laugh my ass off with the clapper, and then all of a sudden Wrigley Field's lights light up. That just goes to show you how much of a screw up Buck actually is. Because this is
Right.
like one of those guys that you do not want to watch do not want to watch your kids or anything like that. And especially Macaulay Culkin's in this movie, a young Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah.
This movie is full of laughs. If you're actually looking for a good laughable movie, this is it. Especially the part where the clown shows up drunk for Macaulay Culkin's birthday, and he winds up punching him because he's drunk, and the clown pops right back up again after falling down. That made me laugh. The other scenes that made me hold on. I love when he scares the hell out of the boyfriend. Yeah, that part was good. Out of his niece's boyfriend. Remember that? Where he actually holds the
No.
drill in his hand? Yeah. Basically what happens is the daughter, the brother's daughter, which is actually Uncle Buck's niece, she sneaks out of the house
Okay.
and goes into this party, and Buck knows that she's there. So he gets a drill with a long drill bit,
Okay.
and he goes, "Have you seen this girl?" and everything. They said no. Next thing you know, he walks in on them. Matter of fact, it's not even her that he walks in on. It's actually some other random girl at a party that he's actually
Okay.
his boyfriend's actually making out with, and he has this
Mhm.
little evil smirk on his face with the drill in his hand. He winds up putting the boyfriend in the trunk, and of course, he winds up seeing the niece walking down the street, and at that point, that's when his niece winds up scaring him with the scaring the boyfriend with the drill as well, because
Okay.
he goes, "You're a crazy bitch. I'm gonna report you." Da 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 da. He goes, "Oh really?" All of a sudden, with the drill and everything, it is so great. This movie will make you laugh all the way through, especially with the big old huge pancakes that Buck makes in the morning
Oh, that's
times.
right. Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
it's like,
Yep.
oh my god, I don't think I would actually leave the bathroom after eating all of that.
Right.
And then also too, I remember when he was cussing at the washer and dryer and everything, and the neighbor thought that he was actually talking ugly to a woman and everything. He goes, "No, I was talking ugly to the washer and dryer."
Dude,
So
that was a
yeah,
good movie.
it was. It was definitely a good movie. John Hughes is the best. So what do you have on your next one?
Let's see. And that was a good pick. I'm happy that you put John Candy on there because he had great
Thank you.
films. This one is number 4, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. And this came
Oh,
out
okay.
in '08 with Martin Lawrence, Mike Epps, Monique, Ari Nicole Parker, just a great cast. And this was one of the funniest. I love Martin Lawrence, and he did a great job in this one. So he's he he was a just a nobody kid, and he grows up to become this huge radio personality or DJ. And his parents are having like their 50th wedding anniversary, and they want him to come back home because the family's going to get together for a reunion, and he hasn't been home in a long time. So him going home, he's going home with the mindset of how he was, how people knew him when he grew up there. So he's going back with the attitude of, I'm going back to prove something to these people. And so he goes back home, and the movie just, it's hilarious. He ends up seeing his girl that he loved back then and who wasn't really into him, and he ends up getting the girl, his sister, who Monique plays. She does a great job in it. It's just a funny movie. It's just a funny movie with little quirky things that happens. They have this. The funniest part is there's a baseball game that the family's playing, and somebody gets knocked out with the ball, and just a bunch of craziness. You're gonna laugh from the time that he's on the plane and lands in town, and the suit that he has to wear because his clothes got messed up. They lost his clothes, so he shows up with this old 60s or 70s suit that he has on. Martin Lawrence did a great job. It's absolutely funny. I haven't seen it in years, but that's a good one.
Yeah, I remember actually seeing that movie on DirecTV. A matter of fact,
Yep.
I did watch the film back when I was in high school. I wound up loving the film. This movie is really good
Yeah.
because who doesn't want to think of from being a zero to a hero kind of feel to it?
Exactly. Yep. Yep.
And and Martin Lawrence has something that he wants to prove, regardless of the
Yes.
fact no one really cares or anything. But
Exactly. Exactly.
but yet Martin feels like he's gonna bust if he doesn't prove anybody wrong.
Right.
So I really love that aspect. Good choice on that one.
Thank you. And
So,
it was
you're very
underrated. I
welcome.
don't think he really got a lot of praise that it should have
No,
got. It didn't. You know
which
what
is
I mean?
actually
It came
crazy.
out and, you know, yeah.
The peak of his career, if you actually think about it. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody really talks about this film at all. Everybody talks about Bad Boys. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
another underrated film that he actually played in was with Tim Robbins, Nothing to Lose.
Exactly. That one, I don't remember hearing people talk about it. That one really was a good one.
To be honest with you, I remember in 5th or 6th grade, my
Mm-hmm.
friends were talking about it and stuff like that. But after that, after so many years, nobody talks about that film.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing about that was the Spiderwit Scatman, when Tim Robbins lights his shoes on fire and everything, with the spider being inside the car with him.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, that was actually my favorite scene and everything. And as a matter of fact, I remember it was me, my mom, and my aunt all went to go see that movie in the theaters, and I was like maybe 12, maybe 13 years old
Mm-hmm.
seeing this
Wow.
movie. Yeah,
Wow.
so
Dang,
but
you've
yeah,
seen a lot of movies. You were a movie kid.
yeah, I was. That's basically all I
Okay.
did do is just watch
Okay.
movies.
Okay.
So
Well,
let's
I'm
see
happy
here.
you appreciate that one.
Thanks. I do. I really do. I have a big passion for movies and film and what actors and actresses do. I have a big appreciation for what you do as well because you are an independent actress. So I do appreciate what you're doing too on your end.
Thank you. Thank you,
You're very
John. I
welcome.
appreciate
You're
that.
very welcome. Let's see here. Another thing too is I mentioned John Candy. So
Yes.
now I have another John Candy film, and
Okay.
it is The Great Outdoors with Dan Aykroyd.
I knew it. I knew it. Yes, that's a good one.
And I love this film because of the fact, John Candy's going away with his family. He's trying to get away from everything. He wants to teach his sons about the great outdoors, and he's getting away from his brother. He thinks he's getting away from his brother and everything, but it turns out his wife actually um invited his brother over to the cabin and everything. He's over. Get this, Dan Aykroyd is actually this rich snob of a person where he actually thinks he's better than everybody is. And John Candy's just a chill, laid back dude. He's like the Uncle Buck with kids,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
but it works. This film works in so many ways, especially whenever he's telling the story about when his great uncle shot the bear and stuff like that, which which is actually pretty funny. Um, then of course, he's trying to teach his sons too about how to fish. And I also love the locals in this movie though too because they have their own superstitions. Also, the guy
Yeah.
who got struck by lightning.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Or the bear
And
that didn't the bear chase John Candy, the famous scene.
yeah,
Big bear, big bear with
big bear, big bear. And the bear comes trampling down over in the cabin, and he knocks down the door, and the door is just bobbing up and down on John Candy.
Yeah.
It's just so hilarious whenever you
Yes.
actually look at it. And then also too, whenever the raccoons knock over the trash cans,
Yes.
and they actually have dialogue.
Yes. Yes.
So this film is all around funny. This is perfect. This is a perfect family film if you're actually looking for something. The stuff is kind of outdated with some of the things that they actually have,
Yeah.
especially whenever you actually look at the arcade, which is sad because I love the arcade. But there's always that one road trip that you go on, right? Where
Yeah.
if you eat something, you get something for free. He had to eat that big old huge steak to try and get
That's
something for
right.
free.
That's right. With all that gristle and
Yeah,
grease and yes. Yeah, that was a good film. That is
it
timeless.
was. All right, so
Okay.
that was my number 4.
Okay. So my number 3 is another good family. Well, it's a family film. Vacation, National Lampoon's Vacation,
Okay, that's actually my number.
1983.
Yeah, I actually have that on my list.
Do you, what's it, what is it, number 2 or 1?
Number 1.
Is it really?
Yeah, yeah.
Great
So
minds.
thank
Okay,
you.
so obviously, this movie was the best movie of the 80s and it stands up today. So you have Chevy Chase, who plays Marty Griswold. And he gets a bonus and he decides to take his family on a vacation to Wally World. So they drive cross country. And oh gosh, there's so many scenes in this one. Um, he has 2 kids. Who, I can't remember the kid's name, but one of the kids ends up doing like what 16 Candles and all those other films in the 80s. So
Rusty
anyway,
was actually the son's name.
Rusty.
Rusty.
Yes, Rusty. And so they go on this cross country trip, and Marty Griswold is just the dad that just can't do anything right. He's like a John Candy, a funny, just does stupid shit, just and the things
Right.
that they get into. So I guess um we'll get to the part where the lady, the model that he falls in love with, that he sees on the trip. So the famous scene of this beautiful blonde and this beautiful, it looks like a Corvette, and he's driving, his wife is asleep, the kids are in the back seat arguing about something, and he notices the blonde in the next car, and she's kind of winking at him, and he's like, oh wow, she's flirting with me and everything. And as he's flirting with her, a truck comes. He doesn't see it, and they end up going off the side of the road. I mean, jumping over this little mountain, whatever, and landing. And it's absolutely hilarious. The kids are in the front seat. They're in the middle of the desert. Um, they go and visit family, and the family's kind of hillbilly-ish, I guess
Yeah.
you'd say.
Randy Quaid. Yeah,
Yes.
because he's just so redneck and so out there in left field, or in a field by himself, if you will. But yeah, Randy Quaid is definitely the guy that is the complete opposite of what Griswold is, which
Yes.
is totally crazy. It shows to show you, just because you live in the same household does not mean that
Yeah.
you're gonna see eye to eye with your brother, and that's
Right.
exactly how it is and
It's
everything.
hilarious. It's hilarious. I won't talk too much about it because I don't want to get into Aunt Edna and all that, because I'm sure the same scenes that I like, you'll like. So I'll just
Right.
leave it right there, because I'll let you talk about the other great scenes. The daughter stirring the Kool-Aid with her hand when they
Right.
go visit the when they go
Right. And
visit
then
the
also too, there's actually a blooper in Texas whenever he gets the blowout on the tire.
yeah,
Get this, there's another scene where all of a sudden the tire is actually okay.
really
Yeah.
didn't catch it. Didn't
Yeah,
catch
I
it.
didn't get that. You want to know what's funny? My ex-uncle, whenever we were actually watching this back when I
Yeah.
was a kid, he goes, there's a blooper there. I'm like, wait, there is? And he rewinded it back, and it was actually the tire that was
Okay.
actually flat. And then also too, their whole entire mission is to go to Wally World, which is
Yes.
like Six Flags, which is
Yes.
also like Universal Studios, Disney World, and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yep.
So that's their main reason why they're going. This is actually goes to show you what everything that can go wrong in a car will go wrong in a car ride with your family.
Absolutely. And John Candy
So,
made an appearance
yep,
because John Candy was one of the security guards at Wally World that Griswold decides to, oh, because it's
right.
closed. It's closed, and they refuse to take no for an answer. So that was my number 3, National
Okay,
Lampoon's
so
Vacation.
all right, since that was your number 3, I'm just gonna go with my number 2.
Yep.
Or you know what? I think I'm just gonna substitute that. I'm gonna go on
Okay.
ahead and go with The Mask with Jim Carrey.
Yes, yes,
And I
yes.
remember as a kid and everything, my friends and I doing impressions of the mask. I remember going, smoke it. And then chick chicky boom, chick chicky boom, uh, and stuff like that. I remember the whole. Matter of fact, I bought the soundtrack just for the Mexican Congo line thing.
Really?
Yeah, because I was gonna try and do something similar to that for my talent show, but it
Okay.
just never happened. So, but I actually bought the soundtrack for that, and also too the comedic timing with it was really good.
Yeah.
Of course, you also have what's the actress name that played on There's Something About Mary? Carmen Diaz was in
Cameron
it.
Diaz.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Cameron Diaz was in it.
Yep.
I mean, she was hot in that movie though. but
Absolutely, she was.
but
Absolutely.
you know, as a kid, I'm like I'm drooling whenever it was a kid.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, there's also another scene though too when it refers. Oh, Brandy said I haven't seen the Mask forever. I haven't
Mm-hmm.
seen that movie in forever either. I know it's about Stanley Ipkiss. Ipkiss is like a zero who works at a bank. He's a
Yeah.
bank teller, well, loans officer, and basically he has zero confidence in himself. So he winds up finding this mask. He puts the mask on. Then he winds up pretty much becoming a cartoon character of everything that he actually grew up with. And
Right.
I also like it whenever he actually gets revenge on the mechanics that are actually fixing his car. This movie is just
Yes,
insanity
it
all
is.
over the place.
Yes, and they did a
So
great job on the effects of the mask itself.
definitely,
The Yeah, and like you said, the cartoons, the big hats, and the I forget the name, zoot suits. I guess they're called zoot
yeah,
suits back in the day.
yep.
But yeah, that was a good pick. I had that on my list earlier and took it off because, like I said, there were so many Jim Carreys that I just yeah. Okay.
All right.
Good pick. Good pick. Okay, so my number one, and I hope you've seen this one. Not you probably did. You've seen movies. Friday, the movie Friday.
Yeah. Matter of fact,
Okay.
okay, here's the thing. I never smoked weed in my life or anything like that, but it seemed like every
Yeah.
single time I would come home from school on a Friday, I would watch Friday.
It
Just
was
because of the
great.
fact it's right. Matter of fact, I was gonna put that on my list, but then like you said,
Yeah.
other comedies I would find out the other things. But I'm glad
Yeah.
that you put this one on there.
Well, this one, Ice Cube starred and directed it, and he plays a guy that gets fired on his day off, and he has a best friend whose name is Smokey, and Smokey loves to smoke. That's what he does. Ice Cube's not a smoker. And so the story takes place from their front porch and their neighborhood. And you have many different characters, and I mean, many different characters in the film, um, many different one-liners in the film. The basis of the film is so he gets laid off or fired on his day off. Smokey ends up getting into some trouble because he's selling weed and he doesn't have all the money for the dealer that he's getting it from, who happens to be Big Worm, who they call Big Perm because he has these rollers in his hair, and he also drives the ice cream truck. And so, they're playing around through the whole film. Smokey doesn't believe that Big Perm or Worm's going to kill him about his money. So they have to get $200 by the end of the film to pay Big Perm Worm back. And that's where the story takes place. So you end up meeting different characters that live in their hood, and you laugh from the time the movie starts, literally, to the when the movie ends. The movie's just great. Smokey was absolutely hilarious. You have a character named Ezel, who is who is the local homeless bum that will clean your car for $1, that will shine your shoes for $1, that goes into the grocery store and pretends like he slipped and fell just to get it's great. It's a great film,
It really
and
is.
that I've seen it so many times, and you put it on, and it's like watching Seinfeld. You laugh every time you see the same thing.
Definitely. And then also to smoke it. Right?
Right? Or
Well,
you got knocked
'cause-
the fuck out.
yeah, that
Or
was my favorite one.
he gonna cry in the car. Just
And
all
then
the
also,
one-liners. So many one-liners.
right? And then he goes the cook whenever he's up in the chicken coop and everything though too. That was actually funny. I was in my damn drawers.
Because he
And
has
then
this flinching thing that he does. And so he tells a story of why he's flinching. And the dude ended up giving him weed that was laced with angel dust, and it tripped him out. So he ends up being in the chicken coop all night.
right, and then he goes
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that the
he
whole
kept doing that. Exactly, exactly.
right. It was
Funny
great. It
freaking
was great.
movie, dude. Funny. We own it on DVD.
I actually still have that movie on DVD too. I have Friday
Do
and Next
you?
Friday on DVD. Yeah, that's actually
Okay.
in my collection.
Okay.
Brandy said, "Do y'all remember House Party?"
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. That was a
yep.
good
I
one
remember
too.
that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually remember that one. That had a lot of good laugh out moments too. You
Yes,
know,
it
you
did.
can't go wrong with Kid and Play. You can't go wrong with Kid and Play at all.
Exactly. And Martin Lawrence, remember it had like everyone who was anyone back at that time
Yeah,
in that film. Big stars
definitely.
came out of that film.
A lot of stars did, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that they're actually got noticed for their
Yes.
acting abilities. That's just fantastic. And you
Yes.
know, um, let's see here. I actually have one more for my number two. I've got Ace Ventura down,
Okay. Pet Detective.
and yeah, the very first one, not the second one. I love
Okay.
the first one, especially
Yes.
whenever he's. You know what? What? Here's the thing that I love. I love the landlord when he comes over there. It's Ventura and goes,
Oh,
"Do you?"
go ahead.
And he goes, and then he goes, "Do you want to go? Have you been to hell?" He goes, "No, thanks. I don't want to be in a relationship, but thank you though." And so he goes, "I need to see your apartment. I've been hearing noise of animals." And he's just over there doing like the little tapping, signaling the animals to go hide.
Yeah.
But I also like the UPS part though too, where he's just kicking the box all over the place, scraping it all
Yes.
over the wall and everything and things like that. Just, well, there was something that was very important there. But anyways, you can go on ahead and leave me a note on how well I delivered this item. Have a good day. And so,
Oh my God. Or
but yeah,
the scene where he dresses up in the tutu where he's going to the mental
oh
hospital.
yeah,
Remember
yeah,
that
just
part?
give
And
me a
he's playing
coach.
like he's doing football. Yes, that's one of my favorite scenes. That is so hilarious. Dude, I fell in love with Jim Carrey after that. I mean, I watched him on In Living Color, and then to see him do basically a lot of the skits that he did on In Living Color, he brought into Ace Ventura, Pet Detective.
Right. You can definitely see that he
Yeah,
used a lot of living color
yeah,
representations and everything. It worked. It works out in his favor and everything. It came.
absolutely.
Oh, my French, the Frenchie came in from Schmoes of the North. Hey, Frenchie, glad to actually have you on as a guest this time, not as a co-host or a guest. I appreciate you on here. But yeah, I mean, I definitely love that scene. Especially goes, let's watch that in reverse, shall we? He goes,
That's
that was so funny.
classic, absolutely classic. My
It
my
was
son was like 1 years old or maybe 2 years old at the time, and he loved he fell in love with um Pet Detective, and from there loved Jim Carrey. Seen every Jim Carrey film, so yeah, that takes me back.
same here as well. I'm glad I actually put this one down. Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I like When Nature Calls a little bit for certain scenes, but there's nothing like that very first Ace
No.
Ventura film and
No.
everything, and that's like what I loved. Okay, so let's go on ahead and go with your next pick.
My next pick, let's see. Oh gosh, I think I did.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, I did. No, it was Coming to America.
Okay, okay.
It was Coming to
So
America, and yeah, we've covered that. I mean,
okay,
Soul
okay,
Glow, yeah, all that.
okay. So do you have a number one?
My number one was Friday.
Okay. So my number one is going to be Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
I haven't seen that in forever. You have to. Bring me back.
Okay, so basically it's about this guy named Peter. Peter's going through a tough breakup and everything, and he wants to get over his girlfriend who plays in this bad detective show that he actually does theme songs with and things like that for the show. And it's a detective show, it's kind of like a CSI kind of show with Alec Baldwin. And so his brother's like, "You need to get away. You need to get out of that place." He goes, "I can't help it. Everything reminds me of Sarah. Sarah. This cereal box that she got for me reminds me of Sarah because she told me that it would keep my cereal fresh, and that's what I've done." And then there's even the scene where she breaks up with him and he comes out of the shower and he's naked. You see everything. There was no cutting away from it or anything like that. He goes, "Peter,
Okay.
put some clothes on." He goes, "No, if I put clothes on, that means that we're broke up. If I'm naked, that means I still have a chance." But um then of course, he goes over to Hawaii to try and get over her. And then that's where he meets up with Mila Kunis as the receptionist, the person who's actually taking the reservations. He goes, "Sir, have you have a reservation?" He goes, "Actually, no. I was just gonna try and wing it
Mm,
and everything and see what you have." Because well, the only thing we have is a Kapua suite, and which is also one of those big, huge suites that only Oprah Winfrey could actually afford, for
okay.
example,
Okay.
and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, here comes Russell Brand and Sarah. And he goes, "Hey, mate, have you seen my shoe? It looks like this shoe, but it was a twin." And so at that point, and everything goes, "Okay." So he looks at the receptionist and goes, and she goes, "Yeah, a matter of fact, sir, we do have an opening in the Kapoa suite and everything. Here you go. Here's your key and enjoy your stay." Because she actually figured out what Sarah was doing was trying to make him jealous
Okay.
and everything. So it was actually really good. This film will make you laugh all the way through this whole entire film. Even the hotel staff is getting tired of Peter because all Peter does is talk about Sarah, about how
Hmm.
heartbroken he is. Mila Kunis tells him this quiet uh, to keep the noise down from crying. He goes, "That wasn't me and everything. There was some old lady up on the top floor. She's been keeping me up too." He goes, "Peter, yeah, you're on the very top floor. You're the last floor." "Oh, okay, I'll keep it down." So it's really good. It's one of those films that I could
Okay.
actually watch when I'm having a bad day or anything like that. It is just a
Okay.
fantastic film. Russell Brand is just an asshole all the way through this film, though. He's a British asshole, but the way that he actually comes off and everything, it makes it
Yeah.
really laughable. Then, of course,
Okay.
Jonah Hill's in this movie, though, too, and things like that. He's a big, huge fan of Elvis Snow, which is also played by Russell Brand. He goes,
Okay.
"Hey, would you go ahead and check out my demo?" And he winds up telling him, "Yeah, I'll make sure I never do that," and throws the demo tape away. So it's a really
Okay.
good. Let's see, my friend Frenchie says, "I love you, John, but overrated." And then my girlfriend says that she hasn't seen this movie or anything. So, it might actually be a time for me to actually introduce her to this movie because I
There
actually
you
own
go.
it on DVD. So there you go.
There you
But
go.
Frenchie, if you're in here, go ahead and tell me what your favorite movie is for a comedy. But I know that comedies is not one of your main suits or whatever. But if you actually have like a dark comedy or something, go on ahead and tell me if you're still here. But anyways, I just want to say this, Rossi. Thank you for actually being on the show. I mean, this has been a blast talking about comedies. I'm glad that we actually got a chance to do this. I know we
Yes.
went a little bit over the marker that we normally do, but it's always a
Good.
blast having you on.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on. I
You're
have a good
welcome.
time doing your movie list and
Thank
having to go back and rewatch some stuff. So I really do appreciate it. I love coming on your
You're
platform.
very welcome. Thank you. I do appreciate that. And where can the kiddos find you at?
They can find me on Instagram at McCree123 hotmail.com. You can find me on Twitter at Rossie Lynn Bark 1. And on Facebook, you can find me Rossie Lynn or Rossie McCree. Either page, you can find me there.
Okay, and of course, everybody can go on ahead and do this. If you guys want to, you guys don't have to, but we have a GoFundMe page for Movie Lovers Unite. Let's GoFundMe.com/Movie Lovers Unite. Go on ahead, donate to the show if you guys want to. If you guys don't have to, if you don't want to, we also have another place that you can actually donate towards the show, and that's called buymeacoffee.com/movie lovers. We also have a page for all your entertainment needs and everything, and that is www.movieloversunite.com. And we also have a Patreon for Movie Lovers Unite. It's Patreon.com/Movie Lovers Unite. And we're going to be doing classic movies for the $10 tier. That's going to be your 1950s movies to the 1990s movies and stuff like that for your classic one. We're going to be reviewing an old classic movie from the 50s or maybe the 30s. It's actually called Caesar. It's an old gangster black and white film that Tamika and I are going to actually review. We're also doing documentary series coming up. That's your $10 tier. And we're going to be doing that for $10. We're going to be reviewing at least one episode out of the documentary series. And then also we also have a $20 tier where you can get both of them and plus a free digital copy of a movie. So that's a little giveaway that we're actually doing for all of our fans if you guys want to sign up. So, and then we also have a Pinterest page for Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite. And then, of course, on Instagram, Movie Lovers, TV Lovers Unite. You can also catch me on Twitter at Movie Lovers Unit and also at John DiGorio 8 on Twitter. And always, and until next time, it's been a blast, Rossie. I appreciate you again for taking the time out. I know it was a little late, but hockey. But hey, I had to review these hockey outfits and everything and talk to Frenchie about hockey. So that's just the northern boy in me. So, anyways, always until next time, guys. It's been a blast. Bye bye.